Today's episode is brought to you by Radio Public. Radio Public is a free app on iOS and Android where you can check out a ton of great podcasts, including our own, and support them just by listening to them on there. Find out more by clicking our link in the description below. And you know what that means. It's time to start another episode of Disconnected Cast. What's going on, John?
Yeah, welcome back, everyone.
That was probably a super generic sounding intro. I don't know why I did that. Okay, anyways, let's get fucking real then. John, anything come up this week? I know I got nothing. This is gonna be the second podcast in a row. I ain't got nothing.
Well, I know I said last week I would be recording on Friday, but now it's moved to next Friday, but at a discount. So thanks for that, Vince the Wizard. Check him out at the Fuzz Wizards on Instagram.
There you go.
I was sick the other day. That was kind of lame, but where we are, allergies are a terrible thing. And, that's what you come here to hear about our allergies and whatnot.
Yep, that great gaming news.
But other than that, no, pretty straightforward week. Just a lot of work, a little bit of gaming. Finally beat Halo CE.
There you go.
Yay, yeah.
Good.
Frustrating.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Anything else? That's it?
That's all I got, man. What
Yeah,
about
me,
you?
I played about 5 minutes of Assassin's... I know I said nothing, and then I go on. I played about 5 minutes of Assassin's Creed Origin, and then I ran out of time.
Great game.
And then had to work a lot. So, yeah, great game. I'll tell you, man, Assassin's Creed has been on the up and up ever since Origin, and then Odyssey's fantastic. Like, they finally fixed the flaws that they had, and it's not a perfect game, but it's a damn great series. I mean, I've always thought Assassin's Creed was fine, but they're really nailing it. The fact that they got two good games back-to-back finally... Yeah, I like it. I
gotta say, I'm happy with where Ubisoft's going in general.
Absolutely.
Far Cry 5 was great, and
it seems to be the era of redemption. Finally, Capcom is crushing it right now.
Yep.
They're doing everything right. Finally, I was all like Crapcom for the last thing, and I was not a big fan of a lot of the moves and calls they were making. But now that DMC 5 is amazing. Resident Evil 2 remake was great. Monster Hunter World, one of the best-selling Capcom franchises of all time. Entries to a franchise of all time. Easily the biggest Monster Hunter franchise sale of all time. It crushed all these expectations and new things, especially for one of the first ones to be really pushed in the States. It's huge in Japan always, but very niche here in the States. But now everyone got in on that Monster Hunter World on PS4, so... It's great. Capcom just knows what they're doing, and I agree. Ubisoft seems to be finding their footing. But you know who's not finding their footing, though?
Who's that?
Is Steam.
Really?
So Steam, we like the gaming. We do like the Steam. I know you don't PC game much, but you do got respect for the platform and stuff like that. But
all
the problem,
the mighty Gabe.
Exactly. But how the mighty have fallen, because... Lately, what's been happening as of late is they had the Steam Greenlight for a while, and so they would approve what games go on there. You can submit your game and get it on there if it gets approved. They kind of got really lax about that. I don't know if it's laziness or some internals have changed or whatever, but they decided to go ahead and change the format of that. But the problem is all these really crappy, not just crappy, but bad games have gone on that. I mean really bad. One of the biggest controversial things, and this is what's really hurting Steam right now and could totally just destroy this platform corporation I didn't think was going to ever be touchable for time and time to come, is the fact that they let a game Rape Day go ahead and get on there. I believe that's since been rectified, but the fact that it wasn't good PR, let's put it that way. And the game is as you would assume, and the big issue there being the fact that games like Hatred have always been there's always been a separation of severity and what's considered inappropriate violence and sexual nature kind of always being uneven in terms of treatment. But in this sense, like, not the greatest thing to have on there.
Yeah, I mean, Hatred is one thing, but we've had Postal before then, Killing Floor. We've always had violent video games, but nothing that ever outrightly advocates for rape.
Right. You can't really discuss this topic without getting, you start treading into some sort of territory, or saying things that are taken out of context, or you walk into the right thing. So we'll kind of probably leave it there. But what I will say, though, is the fact that the game exists like that out there and was on a platform like Steam is absolutely an unprofessional oversight to the most extreme caliber. It really is.
It's definitely crossing some kind of line, you know.
Yeah, it's wild. The fact that that's even a thing is insane.
I'm amazed that got approved. That's wow.
Right. So it makes you wonder if everything's just automated or if someone has just lost their mind. One good thing that came up this week is Google announced its own gaming platform, the Google Stadia. Did you hear anything news about that at all?
I did not. Please divulge.
So Google Stadia, rather than be an actual physical console, is going to be a gaming streaming platform. So you can play on your computer, then you can switch to your phone, and then you can switch to, your smart TV or whatever, or what have you. And you'll be able to play your games. You're going to have a library very much like Steam, but rather than needing X type of console to use it, you can just play wherever you go. And the demo that they showed at GDC 2019 was someone using it on a computer and then having to go and then just picking up their phone and continuing the game as they walk out the door. Absolutely seamless and transitional like that. And a lot of people at first thought, okay, Google Stadia is probably some sort of Google Play Store thing. You'd be able to play Angry Birds on your phone and your tablet and whatever, which they can already do that. No, this is legitimate gaming. They showed a demo of Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Doom Eternal doing this shit.
Right.
Like, imagine you're at home playing Doom Eternal on your computer and you got to go to your doctor's appointment. You're going to be in the waiting room for about an hour. So you just continue with Google Stadia on your phone and just start doing that. Like, that seems so future that, like, the tech can be there. PlayStation just launched their app recently where you can play on iPhone. It's not out on Android yet, so we all know where PlayStation stands on that battlefield. They have it where you can remote play your PS4 games on your iPhone now.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's there. And so this is like taking that idea to the next level. Because all they're doing is streaming your PS4 to your phone. This is straight up playing the game on multiple platforms at your leisure and your convenience.
See, that's neat. I like that. Especially that it's a seamless transition between the two. My question is, what's the graphical quality? What's the frame rate going to be like? The gameplay overall.
So whatever it can handle. For at least that's what the representative from Google is saying.
Yeah.
So in this sense, to give a tangible example, you have a PC that can run 4K gaming. Then fine. What it'll be is on your PC, it's going to run in 4K HDR 60 FPS. So let's just say you're running Doom Eternal on that. Then you go to your phone, the Samsung Galaxy Note 9, the one I'm using, for example, can run up to 2K HDR. So, assumedly, if they do that, you're not losing. I mean, you're losing a lot, but it's still really good, though. 2K is still higher than your average YouTube video, HD video, anything like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in theory and supposedly, what they're proposing, very good is what it's basically. Not much of a. You're not dropping from 4K to 480p. You're actually still in the HD realm, which is.
No, that's fantastic.
Impressive if they could really pull that off.
Seriously.
It's all going to obviously be up to your hardware. If your computer can't handle it, if your phone can't handle it, you're just kind of SOL there. But very interesting idea. What this does, and a lot of people are pointing this out, where the Xbox platform will stand now. Because with Stadia being one way and PlayStation, so you have a console like PlayStation 4 on one end, and then you have something like Google Stadia on the other end, where you have a streaming platform and a physical console platform now eating up both ends of the spectrum, where Xbox was always this kind of like weird mix of the two, because Xbox does have a lot of streaming options between PC and your Xbox and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
They kind of start to slowly get lost in the ether even more, and it's very curious to see where they stand shortly hereafter, because now they have this out of nowhere competitor, and so they have that. They also showed off the Stadia controller, and it looks interesting. Not the prettiest controller, kind of just it almost looks like what you'd expect if someone says, "Draw me a generic controller," like draw me video game controller. It kind of looks like that. Fine, it's fine. It's no Dreamcast or Duke, but it's not the prettiest. That's it.
What's the thumbstick placement? More Xbox or PlayStation?
Well, you know what? Let me, for the sake of this, for all of you listening, I'm going to link it down below. But for John, real quick, I'm actually just going to pull up a picture real quick on the old PC, and I want to just show him real quick. And that's.
Oh, I like
mean,
that.
it's not bad. It's just not exactly very simplistic. Gets the job done for something you can use on your phone and your computer and everything else, and you're just flying that around seamlessly. Realistically, like no problem there. I would say. I think that.
I'm assuming Bluetooth connectivity for the phone.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like it as well. That just seems to be standard issue in the new PS4 and Xbox One controllers. That's also the case. So I would assume that would be the case in there too.
I'm on board with it. It's a pretty cool idea. Very future.
Very interesting proposition. Yeah. I'm very very interested in that.
My question: when are they going to release Skyrim?
Well, you know it's coming.
Oh yeah.
No, as long as that joke's been around, it's actually true and it is coming. And you know what? I don't mind. I'll get it.
I know.
I'll get Skyrim again.
I own 7 copies of Skyrim. So.
It's a lot, yeah, but it's fine. Out this past week as well was the Apex Legends Season Pass. We talked about it last time, and boy, do we have egg on our faces from all that information we did. So we were all right for the most part, but also super wrong in other aspects. And the aspects. So here's the clear details. At the moment, it looks like, from how I understood it, the Legends and the Season Pass are not going to be tied together exactly. You got to still buy the Legends as in characters for those who are not in the know of Apex. And then, of course, the Season Pass itself. The Season Pass will contain cosmetics and other luxury items like that will not unbalance the game, of course. That will be available for, and this is the thing I love about it, you can either use your in-game currency or real money to go ahead and get this stuff. I just love that. I think that's a true free-to-play game there. It really is. You put in the work and you earn it, or you just buy it. But it won't make you any better at the game. That's how it should be.
Yeah, exactly.
The Season Pass will be running you a whole 950 Apex coins or $950 US. Not bad at all.
No, dropping the bucket.
And then each character will be running you about 12,000 Legend tokens, which you can also earn in-game to get characters, a different currency, or $8.50 US. So...
That's not
bad at all.
Yeah, no.
Honestly, that's the kind of money that anyone can comfortably drop and should drop on this game because Apex Legends is fantastic.
Pretty dope.
And you should definitely do that because I think that's the type of thing where it's such a nice format because they don't ask for much and they give you so much that you feel almost, at least I feel guilty paying so little sometimes for such a great. But games as a service being the way it is, where this is going to be like a long-running thing, and you will end up paying a good amount of money overall in the end. I still think it's fair, though, as long as they continue to deliver that content. Because as long as you can look at it in the sense of you're delivering games, and it's like you're getting a new game every 3 months, every 6 months, every year, depending on how often they update it. As long as you feel like you're getting that 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, $200, as long as you felt like in the run of time you've gotten that much value out of it, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's almost like doing a payment plan on your games. You want to play Resident Evil Remake 2 now? Well, put down $10 today, pay me another $10 next month, so on and so forth. You can see it that way, and it's really fair, I think, if you do it that way.
No, it's not asking too much on their part, you know?
Yep, exactly. So that's another good one on there. Speaking of Legends, we have Overwatch Baptiste, the new hero, just dropped this past week on the servers, live on everything, I believe. So he is considered a support character despite having offensive capabilities. What did you think about him in the... I haven't played him, but what did you think about him in the trailer?
I haven't had a chance to either, but I think he's great. I think he's a great addition. I think he balances out all the DPS buffs we've been getting over the past few seasons. We really need a defensive character, and he seems like a very strong addition to the game. I like his ultimate, or his ultra, whatever.
Yeah.
And he seems like a good foil to those who want to play a 76, but also want a bit more of a support character.
Right. It's almost like he's a more, like, because 76 obviously has this very awesome healing deal that he drops down, and this is one of those things where if you want to be more focused on healing but not lose all your offensive capabilities, it's another good additional hero, I think, to the game to try to add yet another playstyle. And as long as Overwatch can continue to add all these different playstyles, because everyone plays games very differently.
Yeah.
from single-player games to multiplayer games, everyone does have a very particular style. And with that being the case, I think that adding all these different heroes that are similar to others but so different from others, or takes a little bit of column A and column B from different characters, is a great way to keep people interested. And they've been doing a pretty decent job at keeping the game balanced while doing this. That's such a hard task. That's what people don't understand, is when people complain about imbalancing. Yes, imbalancing is a big deal, but it's not the easiest thing to do.
Exactly.
It really isn't.
They have to scale what are they at, 26, 27 characters now?
Yeah. It's getting up there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, good on them. I think Baptiste is a great addition.
Yeah, without having played him, I wouldn't run him as a solo heal.
Right.
Maybe pair him with a good Zen or a Moira, but I like him. I'd like to play him.
Yeah, I'm very excited to try him because who knows. I do like playing support, more of a tank guy, but I do like support as well, and of course... I do like DPS. I'm very good with, hit scan characters. I happen to be good at that, but it's just a shame because everyone just wants to do 6-man DPS teams, and that's a whole nightmare in itself, but whatever. Dante's Japanese voice actor, I forget his name, so please excuse me, I'll just keep calling him that, but he talked about how director Hideaki Itsuno actually, once he heard the response of DMC, wanted to withdraw from the game, like he almost quit the team basically because of how he felt he disappointed fans by releasing that game and so on and so forth. Now, mechanically the game is okay. It's not what people expected or anything, and of course story-wise and aesthetically it's just not great. It's the bad kind of edgy versus the good DMC edgy, which is really interesting how you can separate the types of edginess that way. But I still think that it's a little sad to know that he felt that he let down people that hard. But it's good to know he takes his work that seriously. And you can really see... I feel DMC was a necessary game to make, even though I didn't like it, because I think it's what made DMC 5 that much better, is they felt that this was redemption time.
Yeah.
They had to make it up. And I think that it's kind of good to know that he cares that much.
No, it is. I appreciate that. I played DMC. I didn't have too big an issue with it. I felt that they kind of... cut the narrative, though, a bit too early.
How much DMC did you play prior to that? I'm just curious.
All of it, including 2, which I actually enjoyed. I know people hate that game.
Hey, there you go.
1 is still my favorite, but I didn't hate 2.
Mm-hmm.
I played halfway through 4 and had to quit because of school. Just got in the way.
Right.
And when I came back to it, 4 was already last gen, so I didn't feel like picking that up again because I'm spoiled for graphics. But I played a little bit of DMC, not all the way through because I did get kind of tired of the repetitiveness and the over edginess. But it's not as terrible as people think. You can say I have bad taste or whatever, but it's not a bad game. Is it a bad DMC game?
Bingo, there you go.
Yeah, it's kind of a bad DMC game, but it's not a bad game overall. So I'm happy with the decision to reignite the narrative,
Yeah, absolutely, and kind of go, all right, guys, let's try that again. Basically, is what happened there.
No, it's good because it's a great story. Everyone loves the Dante Virgil dichotomy.
It's so good, and then of course Nero is great as well. So it's just, it's a great franchise, and it's great to see its return to form because I would say that, like many others, I feel like DMC5 may be the greatest entry into the series so far. It's absolutely. Excuse me. Fantastic.
Yes, it is. I love the inclusion of Kylo Ren.
So, moving on from there. No, I didn't have a slick transition that time, so they're just going to hop into the next segment. So this was one that really hit home to me because I was really sad about this, and it's still sad to know that things aren't turning around for it, is that Final Fantasy 15, which they did announce where they were discontinuing support for, which really sucks because Hajime Tabata, before he left the company, was really, he did a great job. This is one of those redemption stories, again, where he was like, hey, look, I know that, we really took us forever to get this out, but how about this? In the season pass, we're going to give you, tons and tons of DLC, big amounts of, content, and they were going to have it going. They had so many different stuff. They had the different alternate campaigns for and prequel stories for the main characters. They added the online play where you could play as a separate team and go through the narrative again as your own characters with up to 3 other friends online.
Nice.
They did a lot of cool stuff like that. But then when he announced he was leaving the company, that's when all of a sudden Square was just like, oh yeah, by the way, support's over for it. Which really sucks because at the rate they were going, we are talking about 30 plus probably pieces of true, real big content all the way through 2020. I mean, he was going to make this game one of the most massively supported games, and it's just really a shame that it ended the way it did. They did say that episode Arden, which is still coming out soon, is going to be the final piece of DLC, and then that's it. I mean, but it was really great. They had plans for you to see everything. You got to see the main narrative as Noctis in the original game. Then you got to see what each of his boys went through in the prequel stuff. Then you were going to get to see the story from the vision of Luna, whatever, the main girl, and then of course episode Arden, you'd get to see it through the eyes of one of the bad guys. They were making it so you could play through the game and see it from everyone's perspective and play as everyone's different styles and narratives, and it was just such a cool thing they were doing with it. That's
pretty cool. It's disappointing to hear that it's not going to go on.
Yeah, I mean, you have people who are haters, and they're just like, of course, they're just like, yeah, at least you're going to pay for all that. But me, I don't mind paying for it as long as I'm getting something for it. This is the thing that's like, that's just the state of the industry. I can't fix the entire industry, but I can enjoy when it's good with what we got.
Well, that's cool. The episodic content release is a nice touch.
Absolutely. Another disappointing thing, continuing that trend in the conversation, because it just really is that sense, and this is another one where I mean it in the way that like I'm disappointed personally as a fan level, is that the brand new game from the studio who makes the Yakuza games, which everyone who knows me knows how much I love those games. Ever since Two Best Friends Play introduced me to that game back in 2013, and I first played Yakuza 4 back then. I've just been a fan of the franchise ever since, trying to pummel through as many of them as I can, and they've been getting the older games remade and released on PS4, which makes it convenient and really good on that sense. But they had a brand new spin-off game, which does take place in the Yakuza world, but it was a separate spin-off, was Project Judge. And it's an awesome looking game, clearly a Yakuza style game, but with more emphasis on your main character doing martial arts. You do play as like a cop or detective or whatever, and you go through the streets of Kamurocho, where most of the Yakuza events take place, and you're kind of on the cop side of things now. And you're not going after any characters, as far as I know, that you get to see from the main. You're not going after like Kiryu or anything like that. But you can tell it takes place in that world and everything, and it looked really great. They had all sorts of investigation mechanics and stuff that you can use, and then the combat system looked great. But now the overseas shipment is going to be delayed because one of the main characters in the game, they use the likeness and voice of a lot of these people, was caught doing cocaine, and it surfaced, and Japan's laws on that are very strict. And because of that, they did this before in a previous game where they pretty much, when they released it later on / overseas in a different version, they totally redid that guy, all the guy's parts and likeness, and the character totally changed the way they look just to retcon the guy out of the game. And now it looks like they might do it with this one, which means that the delay on this game, which sucks because it was actually going to be one of the first games by the Yakuza studio, now that the game finally has support and Sega actually cares now, was going to come out fairly soon after the Japanese one. But now it looks like it's going to be delayed for a really long time. They're probably going to end up redoing and rebuilding a lot of the stuff that had to do with this guy's parts, and that's really a shame. I know it's a big cultural difference in terms of how their culture sees this stuff. We're here in the States, we're kind of like, over there, it's not it's that simple.
You gotta understand, that's their brand, and this guy's doing illegal things.
Exactly. The fact that it's not so much a focus on the fact that they're doing cocaine, it's the fact that they're kind of doing something bad in general.
Yeah, exactly, Whatever you want to do, that's fine. But he's doing something illegal. He's part of a bigger project. There has to be a sense of awareness with that. Is this person a major part of the game?
He's one of the main... he's not the player character, but he deals with him a lot.
Yeah, okay.
Which is why this is going to be a long tear-down and rebuild project, basically.
Oh, that's a damn shame, man.
Yeah, I know. I was really looking forward to that. But, more money in the pocket for now. Speaking about more money... DOA 6, which recently was released, did you hear about the gripes that people have with that?
No, what's up?
So, DOA is known, ever since 5 at least, to have a notorious amount of DLC. Insane amount.
Yeah.
My argument on that, of course, is that you don't have to buy it. You really don't. It doesn't make you any better. It's all cosmetics. It's all optional.
Yeah, of course.
But it's still got a lot of attention. The first thing that got attention for DOA 6 is the fact that at first it looked like they were going to cut out a lot of the overt sexuality. But then when the game actually came out, they actually just went in and went twofold, and a lot of people were kind of like felt deceived or were disappointed that that was the case. But whatever. I mean, DOA, honestly, that's what sets them apart. I feel like the game, whether or not you like that stuff, if the game didn't have it, I don't feel that it kind of, damn me for saying this, but it kind of feels like it's almost necessary because it's what makes the game stand out. It's what made the game noticed. Yeah, exactly. And honestly, if not, it might have just been another fighting game that would have fallen in the shadow of Tekken.
No, you're right.
In 3D fighters.
Like, I love King of Fighters.
Absolutely.
And certain BlazBlue entries, but I feel like those get kind of dusted aside as another fighter. Whereas DOA, that's the first time I learned about jiggle physics. And,
right.
It's known for that kind of thing.
And so what they ended up doing with that is the fact that they are selling their very first season pass, and only one of several, $99.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, $99 season pass, all cosmetics for the different characters, and it's going to be the first of several, and it costs $99.
Each one that's already slated is going to cost $700?
Well, that's assumed. We don't know about that yet, but if it's anything like the past entries, they probably likely will do that. And so, this is where people, of course, take the financial breakdown of the game. The game itself is $60.
$165. Well, $65, and then $100 if you want all the
costumes.
Cosmetic upgrades. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Really. What else are they planning with that? What are you promising me?
Now there should be stages and stuff, if I recall correctly, because in DOA 5 that was the case. But majority costumes. If they haven't announced that it's going to be just costumes, it's almost going to be just costumes.
That's a little ridiculous, I have to admit. For $99 plus tax, I'm assuming. So you're
right.
At $108 for skins.
Right, exactly. So with that being the case, I would say that I can see both sides of the argument. I'm on the you don't have to buy it side, but I do understand people's concerns with making it a thing. Some people have went as far as to say that it's as if Koei Tecmo is taking advantage of their fan base, knowing that these people will drop the dollar bills to buy this.
Yeah. It's a little disheartening because it's one of those moments in gaming that could set a benchmark for other companies that see if, well, the fan base bought into this for this game, what's stopping us from charging that much? What's stopping Destiny 3 from charging $200, $150 for their next game?
You're right, and it now sets a brand new precedent for gaming companies to charge stuff unnecessarily. You're right.
Yeah,
it's all about trend setting, right? When something catches attention, like this is catching attention, other companies look out and they don't see it in the moral standpoint, they look at it on the potential to make money standpoint. So
exactly.
You're right, that's actually true. That's a very, very valid point. It's like when Apple got rid of the headphone jack, everyone else started imitating that, even if a majority of people hate the fact that that's the case. But it's about following trends and getting in there, and there are tech reasons why they do that.
Well, yeah, but you can just drill a hole into it, right? No, you can't. Don't.
But that being the case that's a very good point. It's that kind of thing where even if the overwhelming response is against it, the fact that once people realize that it can be a thing and people can do it and people will still buy it, that it doesn't stop people from trying to do that. So you're right. Very true.
It's a little insulting. That's what I'm saying. As a gamer, it's like, really?
And you're not wrong. It kind of is at that point. So you're absolutely you're got a very good point there. Next up on the docket, Plague Inc. Have you ever played Plague Inc?
Once a long time ago, yeah, or not that long ago, but. Oh wait, am I thinking of something else? No, I think I'm thinking of something else.
Oh, okay, well, Plague Inc.
is the one. Go ahead.
You play. You have the little you're all playing together, and you're trying to stop from getting wiped out by plagues, like different illnesses. You're trying to, that area and stuff like that. You heard about it?
I haven't played it. I watched my friend play it, and she named the plague after her mom.
Did you hear about the new buff that the game developers added?
No, I haven't. What's up?
So it's actually a debuff. So they said that if X amount of people got on board with X thing that I'm about to say, that they would go ahead and in the game add it as a debuff for you to use against other people or to fuck yourself over depending on how you utilize it.
Yeah.
In Plague Inc. now, officially, anti-vaxxers are now a debuff that can have you lose quicker because the plague will overtake you that much faster.
Oh boy. I can't wait to hear about the backlash from that.
Yeah, definitely a ballsy move from anyone who's trying to sell something or that has the game at all, but I also did find it rather amusing that was actually a thing that they went ahead and did. I think
that's taking a stance, and I support them for it. Without taking a stance of my own, that's kudos to you, Plague Inc.
Yeah, I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
I find that very amusing.
We're going to follow into our final topic. This week's podcast, final topic, and what we're going to consider, and this is again what I want you, the audience, in the comments below, or email us, or whatever the case is, do follow up with us because we want to know your take on this as well. We want that feedback.
Yes, please.
Do games that ask for a second chance deserve them? There'll be more context in a second when I get into these franchises that I'm questioning. And it's not only to these franchises. If you can think of another franchise that has done this, definitely bring it up and put it on there because there are a ton of them. It's what Jim from the Jimquisition podcast called people entering now the It Better Now system. And that's one of the things that we kind of go into. One of the first examples, and one of the ones that I actually think is good, and in fact, all three of these are actually good games now. Mm-hmm. And this is actually going to basically be semi-related to Anthem, which we were talking about in the last podcast, and I'm going to come full circle into that and kind of ask a question on your thought of that. Is the first one up is No Man's Sky.
Oh, yeah, of course.
One of the things where the game first came out and it was totally disappointing, but not because the game itself sounded like a disappointing proposition, but the fact that the game didn't deliver anything that it had initially promised.
No, I agree.
Multiplayer was not there. A lot of the activities to do was not there. A lot of the world was not there. There was just a lot of stuff that was missing from the game, which is just not good, unfortunately. It's one of those things where you gotta... don't promise it then. Just keep it in your pocket and have it like, oh, this is going to be a future upgrade. Or, oh, this is going to be in the first season pass. Just be very transparent about it because it's very quick that people are going to realize that you're not delivering half the things. And when that's the case, it's not going to bode well for you in the end. Because, now No Man's Sky, a lot of people aren't playing, but it's actually pretty good now.
Yes, I'm going to jump on the devil's advocate side here and say I didn't completely loathe No Man's Sky when I first played it. I actually put a lot of hours in, maybe like 60, 70 hours into the original build.
That's awesome.
I just enjoyed the monotony of it, the grinding, just going and exploring. That to me was fun. I liked the ability to just go out on my own and do what I want. There wasn't any concrete narrative to follow, really. And I had fun with it. Now, I think that where it suffered is where a lot of games suffer nowadays, is that it was on that development deadline.
Right.
Where you promise all of this, and it is going to come out, but because our publisher wants to put this out now, this is the date it needs to be released, we need to get this now. That's where it kind of attracted a lot of negative attention. Because they did deliver an incomplete project.
They did. And then a lot of games do that now, to be absolutely fair.
Yeah, exactly.
EA being one of the more notorious ones for that. What do you know? We're talking about Anthem later.
What about that?
But we'll get to that in due time. And I totally agree with you. I think I didn't put quite as much time into it as you did, but there was something about even just walking around in the land that was therapeutic. The visuals were not bad. I thought the idea was great, and I was just like, I wish there was more there, which is why when I got it initially and I didn't play it much, I just shelved it for now, and I was just hoping, and then and eventually they started dropping some big updates that totally overhauled the game, and it was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And so in the last week, and in fact, this had just been announced 6 minutes after we finished recording the last podcast, so we didn't get to put this on the last one, was that they're finally going to drop the multiplayer for it. Yep. Next big expansion is going to drop a bunch of stuff, including multiplayer, which I'm absolutely stoked for. I cannot wait. Of course, now I got to convince friends to buy this game that didn't look that great at first, but it's exciting. I think it looks really nice. I think the game is really nice now, and I think that this is going to be an awesome aspect. Something multiplayer that was promised from the beginning, finally coming out. Hey, maybe it's better late than never.
No, exactly. It's one of these things where your patience pays off if you decided to stick with the game.
Yep, exactly. Next one up, of course, is Warframe. That game has changed a lot since it came out. That's another one.
Hasn't it?
And of course, it's being compared to Anthem a lot because Anthem basically just copy and paste it. I believe, if I recall correctly, one of the members in that are involved directly with Warframe basically dropped, I want to say it was a tweet. I want to say that they had to, I think they were advised that it was taken down by another staff member, essentially. But please correct me if I was wrong about any of that. But I'm fairly sure that that was the case. And basically, it just took a jab at Anthem that was basically saying, "Oh, I mean, you can cut or paste the stuff. You can cut and paste our stuff if you want to. That's fine." That's not exact. That wasn't the verbatim quote, but that's basically what it's inferring.
Yeah.
So I thought that shit was pretty funny, and the guy the fact that they would just go there is always amusing.
It's not exactly cutting and pasting because Warframe is a successful game.
It's true. And of course, again, we touched on this a bit last time, so I'm not going to beat the dead horse again because that's not the name of this podcast. But the thing with it is the fact that at least Warframe didn't charge you anything up front.
Exactly.
You had the choice to pay as much money as you want, but they didn't charge you anything up front. For Anthem to be as incomplete as it is and ask you for $60 at the bat and let you know that there is going to be more to be asked for later, that's a bit much.
Anthem promised a lot out the gate. Warframe was just, hey guys, here we are. We're free to play.
Yeah, we're a thing. Try us out.
Give us a try. Yeah, exactly. And I did. And
remember,
I didn't
ninjas
fall in
play
love.
free.
Oh, really? Is that?
I remember that cringy ad campaign
man,
kept me
that was
away
so
from it.
bad.
Yeah.
Luckily, I didn't see that till after the fact that I played it.
Uh-huh.
But it didn't. I would have had the same result. Well, maybe to a lesser extent. But I liked Warframe. I thought it was cool. I was playing other games at the time. I think I was playing Arkham Knight at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't dedicate myself to it. But one of my friends was playing it hardcore and still plays it to this day. Like, is a diehard fan. But again, that Warframe didn't promise you anything. Anthem is over here trying to deliver, the next great Destiny, you know.
Basically. And that's the thing, is the fact that it failed to hit the nail on the head.
It failed to hit anything.
Good point. They were just swinging at the fences and we're walking the exact opposite direction of the fence.
Yep.
Another game that did get better over time, and it got even more attention ever since it went free to play for the month on PlayStation Plus, was For Honor. For Honor was another game that was not terrible at first, but again, pretty empty. You fucking tap on that shell and you can hear the echo in there. And it was just one of those things where it took time a bit to get up there, but now it's great. The Marching Fire expansion and everything just added all this awesome stuff. The new the Chinese guilds and stuff that are in there now, and all these other warriors. I mean, it's a great game. It's an awesome concept. You take these real fighting styles. It's not a Dynasty Warrior style hack and slash, like just button mash and do good. But you really have to think strategically. You have to learn to block. You have your mid, your low, and your high, like guards and everything. There's all sorts of different stuff, and every class played completely different. You have your Vikings, who are a lot more brawler, and then you had your samurai, who were a little more fragile if they got hit, but a good samurai player just wouldn't get hit, and they would be so much more powerful on the offensive comeback. Like, there were so many different ways that they did it just right in the end.
Yeah.
But the problem is, all of this stuff, all these games that we're talking about, all this stuff we're mentioning, did go in that format of promised too much, failed to deliver, but delivered it in the end.
Yeah, exactly. I actually got on board from the get-go with For Honor.
Nice, that's good.
Not 100%. I did buy a pre-owned copy, so I could get my money back if
need be.
I got bored, which I did. But I was a fan of Deadliest Warrior back in the day, so this is what I was hoping for.
Right,
I
something
don't know
like
if you
this.
ever played that game. It's not bad, but it's very...
Deadliest Warrior or
Deadliest Warrior.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very simplistic.
Okay.
You know, if one of you has a shield, the other one doesn't. What?
It was basically Ghetto For Honor.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, but For Honor was fun. It felt lacking.
Right, which is the motif of all these.
Yep.
So that puts us into the final round and section, where, again, we want to know your guys' thoughts on any of that, but especially this section. And I want to know your thoughts too, of course, John. That's why you're on here. Anthem. Anthem is now in this spot where it did what these other games did, including the one that it ripped off. And now, does it deserve that time to turn around, does it deserve your $60 and future support? Or did Anthem already drop the ball so hard that there's no way to pick it up again? What do you think about that? Because everyone knows my thoughts already. What do you think about that?
Having not played it firsthand yet, and just going simply off the opinions of gamers that I trust, I kind of look at it as Anthem dropped the ball. I don't know if they're going to be able to recover. I hope they do, because it seems like a great
I love
franchise.
BioWare.
Yeah, I love BioWare. I don't want to see BioWare get shelved and collapse into something else. I really hope Anthem can recover, because it's a neat idea. It seems like it could have a lot of potential as a cool sci-fi shooter, MOBA, right? It's a MOBA, yeah.
I mean, I don't know the genre MOBA would be fair to say, but you got the first part for sure.
Okay, yeah. Correct me where I'm wrong, please. But I think at the moment and for the preceding future, they dropped the ball. Just because they promised so much, they set the price point too high, and in the case of For Honor, For Honor delivered a little bit, but Anthem doesn't seem to be delivering anything at all.
I say that's fair. I think that there's so much nothing, and I think it's a shame because I do want to see BioWare succeed, but I just feel like this was just a bad call on all fronts in terms of the way they did it. And one of the biggest disappointments is the fact that they compromised. Like I believe I mentioned on the last podcast, a year ago when they basically said that people that play shooters don't care about stories, so we're going to forgo our forte and compromise to get in on this Destiny bandwagon, is just the most awful thing you can do as a company. I love you, BioWare, but for me to have made a call like that where you chase the dollars over delivering what people expect of you is a shame. Especially because, like Laura on the Jimquisition podcast was saying, is that the game itself mechanically is fine. If they had just made this a single player game with a great story and fine video game mechanics, this could have been a good game. It could have been.
Yeah, man. Selling it is one thing, but never compromise your vision for it.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. So that's where it's going to stand, and I don't think it's going to recover. I hope BioWare does, but I'm not going to hold my breath for Dragon Age 4, unfortunately, because I think this might be the nail in the coffin. I hope the best for you, BioWare, but with EA being your boss man, I don't see you making out of this alive, but I hope you do. And I'm pulling for you, BioWare. I really, 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 really hope so. Because since they just announced that the producers of Game of Thrones are going to be doing a Knights of the Old Republic series, supposedly, yes, I really, really, really hope that you guys pull through, because those are some of my most favorite games of all time. I mean, Knights of the Old Republic, Dragon Age, Mass Effect 1 and 2.
It's my childhood right there. Shoot. I'm playing KOTOR right now, in fact.
I hope you guys make it. I really, really do. So, with that being said, that pretty much wraps it up. Let us know your thoughts on the idea of second chance for games. Do they deserve it if they drop the ball so hard? Or do they deserve to be taught a lesson, one that actually just might be a permanent one for them, so they can better themselves in the future and not end up being a piece of shit like Cliff Bleszinski? Anything going on with you later this week, John? What's coming up with you? Anything new?
A lot more work.
That's exciting.
And, I know I said I wasn't playing anything earlier, but I did actually start KOTOR. I at least made my character.
There you go.
And
that counts.
Yeah, I'm technically playing it. So I'm going to try and get in some hours on that, at least maybe 30 minutes a day. Because I love that game. It's fantastic. Like we said, rooting for you, BioWare.
And where can our lovely listeners find you at?
You can find me at disasterman_music on Instagram. Keep on the lookout. Going to be releasing an EP by the end of the year. So, yeah, thanks.
You can find me at the handle ZDRocker, all together. And, of course, you can find my other projects at slimasianentertainment.com. Remember, if you do have any inquiries, comments, questions, or follow-up, you can email us at disconnectedcastmail@gmail.com. Once again, that's disconnectedcastmail@gmail.com. And let us know anything right there that you want us to maybe cover. If you have any insight on anything, let us know and you can reach us there. And until then, we will catch you guys every Monday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you, everyone who corrected us on the fact that we did not put a time zone on the last one. We forget that everyone lives in other places and not just where we live. And until then, we will catch you guys in the next episode.
Later, y'all. Have a great